Good morning, everyone. Welcome. And this is David Thorne coming to you live from Garfield Memorial Church, a South Euclid campus. And this month, we've been talking about how to help other people or put the needs of other people before your own. That might mean putting the needs of your mom, dad, whoever you live with, or brother, sister, or even your animals, to think about what do they need before you think about what do you need. How can you help them before you think about yourself? And to do this, we're going to use a story from the Bible, and we're going to find out what happens when a group of friends want to help their friend. They put the need of their friend before their own, and they're bringing their friend to Jesus. So, in this story, there's also a group called the Pharisees, or teachers of the law. Now, this group, they're not bad necessarily, but they're experts in the law, except they're not nice about it. They're kind of mean, and they think that they are better than everyone else. So, in order, as I tell this story, in order to do that, I have some friends here with me. Here we have Micah and Logan, and they are going to help with sound effects during this story. There we go. So thank you guys very much. Just to kind of see what happens if we add some sound effects to kind of see if we can feel like we're there, right, guys? You can help us feel like we're there in the middle. Yes, in the middle of this story. That's our goal. Okay. So let's start our story. Okay.
Yes.
So thank you. So here we go. Story. All right. One day, Jesus was teaching, and there were the Pharisees and the teachers of the law. They weren't big fans of Jesus, but he was there teaching. But not only was he teaching, he was also healing people.
Yes.
Now, they were in this small little house, and it was just full of people. You can imagine if there was somebody down the street from you and they were healing people, everyone in the city, everyone on your street would want to go see. It'd be very, very exciting. So Jesus was there healing people inside this small house, and there also were the Pharisees and teachers of the law. Okay. So anyways, in this city, there were also some friends. Now, these friends had a friend of theirs. We'll call him John. Now, John couldn't walk. He was paralyzed. So his friend said, we want to take John to Jesus because we want to help John. Maybe Jesus can help John. John can't walk. So they said, you know what we're going to do? We want to put the needs of John before ourselves. It's not about us. We want to get our friend to John, to Jesus. So they picked John up and they walked him towards the house. Now, as they got to the house, they got close and they saw, man, they could not get inside. The house was completely packed. So they sat there and they didn't know what to do. They said, we have to get our friend John. We want to help him and get him in to see Jesus, but the house is packed. Now, what would you guys do? If you were there and you were outside the house and you wanted to get your friend inside the house to help your friend, what would you do? Would you give up? Would you just say, oh, well?
No.
Right. So what would you do? Now, they sat there and they started thinking about what should we do to help get our friend John to Jesus. Now, they could just wait. But then one of their friends had an idea.
Do it.
They said, what if, just throwing this out there, we took our friend John to the top of the house,
Yes.
then dug a hole in the roof,
Yes.
And then lowered our friend John down to see Jesus.
Yes.
Maybe then Jesus would help our friend John, and maybe he could, help him because he can't walk. Their friend said, that sounds like the most logical thing we should do. Why not take John up to the top and dig a hole and drop him down? So they went for it. They took their friend John up to the top of the house and then started digging a hole. Now you can imagine Jesus and all the people inside the house. They were there and Jesus was teaching, and he was teaching. Well, sure, he was teaching and healing people. Okay, he was healing people, and which was great, and people were so excited. There we go. And all of a sudden, there's some dirt that's falling down on their heads. And they look up and they see this tiny little hole, kind of appearing in the ceiling. And this is not normal. That hole gets a little bit bigger. And suddenly they see someone's face peering down, waving at them. Then this hole gets a little bit bigger, and they see a few faces. And pretty soon this hole is big. Inside the top of this room is a gigantic hole, a person-sized hole. These friends, because they want to help their friend, they wanted their friend to be helped by Jesus, they then lowered their friend John down into the middle of this room. Now, this is quite shocking, but Jesus looks at this guy, John, and he says, And he says, John, your sins are forgiven. Now, this is kind of intriguing because John couldn't walk. So the most common thing you were hoping was maybe that Jesus would heal John so he could walk. But instead he says, your sins are forgiven. Now, the Pharisees who were listening to all this, they said, that is not good. Because they said, listen, who is allowed to forgive sins? Only God can forgive sins. And here, Jesus was forgiving this guy's sins. And they were not happy. They said, how could Jesus do this? This is blasphemy. This is wrong. This is so wrong. Nobody can forgive sins but God. Now, Jesus knew what they were thinking. He knew it. He knew exactly what they were thinking. And he says to them, he says, hey guys, I know what you're thinking. Now you wonder who can forgive sins. But listen, he says, which is easier? Would it be easier for me to say you're healed, or would it be easier for me to forgive sins? Which would be easier? But so that you will know that I am the Son of God, that I am from God, so that you will know this. This is what I'm going to do. He looked at the man and he said, son, and we call him John, so we'll say, John, this is what I want you to do. So you will know that I have authority over everything, over sins and forgiveness and healing. I want you to get up, take your mat, and you can go home. So this was shocking because then John got up, he took his mat, and he could walk. And he was very excited. So everyone there was just shocked. This is not what they expected. They were like, yay! And they were excited, and they began praising God because this was a miracle. This guy could not walk. And this was a small town, so everyone knew, oh, that's the guy that can't walk. And he could now walk. This was crazy. They were so excited. So, everyone was amazed at what happened that day. So, the point of this story, and the thing I kind of want to be aware of, is to think about how we can help other people. Now, John couldn't walk, so he couldn't get himself to Jesus. What he needed was a friend or a group of friends who are willing to put the needs of John before their own. So that's what they did. They took John and helped him and put their own needs above his. So, I want you to think about this week. How can you help your family? How can you help your mom or your dad or your brother or your sister or your dog? Maybe you can take your pet for a walk or clean your room or offer to put dishes away. But think about, is there a way that you can help your family this week? And I want to challenge you with that, about trying to put the needs of others before your own. All right? So that's our story, and I hope you guys have a great week. All right? Talk to you later.